Hi, Dr. Quinn here, your work psychologist. This is another addition to the audible reflections I've been making on courage as I delve into courage and begin to write about courage. I think there's so many aspects to it, and I've been going kind of through this iterative process of not only studying courage, but examining my own courage and trying to reflect on my experience with both courage and fear and a lot of the variables involved in courage. And today's another reflection. My hope here is that it brings you some encouragement and perhaps some new ways of thinking of courage. You know, these past 4 weeks, I've been devouring mainstay books on courage. So I've read a lot of research on courage and journal articles, but I've been, reading through bestsellers. And I just finished my seventh book this past 4 weeks, Joyce Meyer's Do It Afraid. For my dissertation, I ingested somewhere in the vicinity of 347 research articles, I think. As a psychologist, my study of courage, there's a clear set of baseline variables in the structure of courage or components that make it up. And many of these variables are also found in, strong psychological theories studied in science, motivation theory, expectancy theory, goal setting theory, and also self-determination theory. You can look these up if you're somebody out there who enjoys scholarly information. The conclusion is it's clear that courage involves at least three elements or three variables. One is fear or negative emotion, perceived risks and benefits. We imagine an outcome based on action. And then also that action or that courageous action that we would take in order to be courageous or to show courage. Joyce Meyer expresses that fear, is something she tried to get rid of before acting courageously. And hence, that's the title of her book, I think, Do It Afraid. Some authors refer to this phraseology or way of thinking as, leaning in, or embracing the difficulty, or hey, do it anyway. And having examined, mathematical equations that hypothesize about fear's relationship with acting courageously, I can't help but notice a difference in two possible equations, which are really ways of thinking about the formulation of courage. And our mindset in courage is so important. That's very clear as well. And the first way I think most of us traditionally think about what it means to exercise courage looks like this. Assess fear plus resolve fear equals the courage to act. And the courage to act and acting out courageously are distinct. This first equation fondly reminds me of my Texas roots, where we would say we're fixin' to, as in fixin' to eat dinner or go outside or do whatever. I think assessing our fear to resolve it before acting is fixin' to be courageous. And so the equation should look like this if we're thinking that way. Assess fear plus resolve fear equals courage to act equals act of courage. Joyce's Do It Afraid is profound because it's something we know about courage naturally. To act courageously is to somehow, amid our fear, do that thing that frightens us. But how often I think we subconsciously overlook that we think this way of we must master, overcome, conquer our fear, and then afterward do that thing. It's linear thinking, it's doing A, B, and then C, or 1, 2, and 3. We dissect our fear, understand it, try to convince ourselves we have no need to be afraid, and then we expend resulting courage or act. This equation has not worked for me with deep fears. The courage equation I derive from Joyce's content is this one. Acknowledge fear plus act equals courage or action completed. We are in tune to the tangible outcomes of courage when we see them, a goal achieved or progress noticed. But how unaware we are of the outcomes of fear. We pay more attention to the way fear feels. And then, of course, we want that unpleasant feeling to go away, so we try to escape it. And as Joyce writes, run away from fear. It's commonly accepted that intense fear produces three outcomes: flee, freeze, and fight. And the first two, fleeing and freezing, they're just not our best options if we are investing in courage. They are barriers. So freezing holds us in position and fleeing gives up our progress. Of course, freezing and fleeing are good options in some circumstances, like stopping quickly at the crosswalk if a driver overlooks a stoplight or runs a stop sign, or running inside, during a rainstorm to protect our electronics from damage. But fighting or acting is our best choice if we want to actualize or materialize our courage. And fighting referred to here means doing that thing, however small, with fear present, with it in tow. And this idea of fear in tow, I think, is a good one. I think we do push through fear in exercising courage, but I think that phrase push through is not the most helpful. I love to backpack in Colorado's beautiful backcountry. And recently, I've been thinking of my fear more like a backpack. If I leave the trailhead without my backpack, I'm in for a rough experience. I need my backpack to survive. It's something I must carry to camp. And I think deep fears are that way. We carry them. They're not overcome in an instant. And it's only when I reach the designated stop for the day that I can set down my backpack and enjoy the freedom from its weight. But I have to bear its weight whenever moving forward. Thinking of fear as something that we carry or bring alongside changes fear from something we overcome. It moves it from being something in front of us or blocking us to something beside us or with us that we compassionately lead forward. It is after our journey, acting courageously, that we can better set that fear down or at least diminish it. So here's a suggestion and something I'm doing with myself, and I hope it helps you. That's the point of this, is to encourage you out there. Try speaking compassionately to your fear. And you can do this out loud in front of a mirror if you like. Picture two parts of you: the courageous part that wants to act, and the fearful part that wants to flee or freeze. The afraid part is your reflection in the mirror, and the courageous part is you, able to move forward, walk away from the mirror. Try a monologue like this while staring into the eyes of your fearful self in the mirror. Here's some statements to try, and this might be awkward at first, but it costs you nothing and maybe a little bit of self-embarrassment, so I think it's well worth doing. Use your first name. So, if your first name's Joe or Sally or Mark or Bill or whatever it is, use your first name. So start with your first name. I'll use my name as example. So looking in the mirror, staring myself right in the eyes, I might say this: Quinn, I know you are afraid of, and then name that fear, whatever that thing is that's holding you back or keeping you anxious. Then say this: and to do or go through, name the courageous act or situation, is terrifying. Next, say, it is okay to be afraid. Many people feel the way you do right now. Then say this: many people choose to stay here, imprisoned, bound, and anxious, all the while looking yourself right in the eyes. Then say your first name again. So as example, Quinn, you're not that person. I choose to act even though I fear. Name the fear or the imagined outcome again, or anything you want to state about it, what's top of mind or causing you the most anxiety. Then say this: because I must, and name the reasons that it's advantageous or perceived benefits to accomplish. These are examples. Because I must test my ability to do X, or know if X is possible, or know that I X, or I must be there for, maybe that's a person. And try doing this for several days in a row, especially every time you feel fear. See if you can step away. At minimum, you can do this just mentally or cognitively. I found it to be very helpful. And then I personally also like to finish doing that exercise by just closing my eyes and saying, God, please help fill me with courage too. And then again, name the courageous act. This is Dr. Quinn Denny, your work psychologist. I hope this has been insightful. Maybe you'll come up with your own methods, but I think it's good to get your fear out there. I know that's what a lot of the research and mainstay books say, and I think it's very true from a perspective of psychology. It's good to openly address your fears, talk about them, and do something like this as an exercise with yourself on a regular basis. It rebuilds those neurological pathways. Hope you have a wonderful day today. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope this brought you a little hope and courage in your day.